Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Modern Work Mondays. I am your host, Nolan Miller, CEO of Sync, and we always have with us our co-host,
Jeff Strasser with Microsoft. Good to see you, Nolan.
Awesome. Hey buddy. Hey, you and I were talking about this, and I'm confused. So maybe we're supposed to be thought leaders, but I guess we're confused on this one. I've never usually see like a little headset that people are using with like a Zebra device for a Samsung or something. Like there seems to be like it's radios or it's devices or both, but I'm curious, like, why are we not seeing like a Bluetooth paired mobile headpiece? Do you have the answer? Because I don't.
I do not. I don't actually have the answer. It is a really good question, and now that I'm trying to think through all of my shopping scenarios or customer conversations, yeah, it's a lot of wired earbuds, headsets, maybe whether it's one ear with a boom or otherwise. And you don't see Bluetooth. I don't know if that's a factor of the devices they're connecting to, like legacy radios that maybe don't have Bluetooth capabilities built in, which of course would be a requirement. But even in the case of more modern devices where we know they do have Bluetooth, and in many cases they're used for peripherals, scanners and so on, printers, but not headsets. And I don't actually know the answer. It may be related to certainly historically battery performance. Has been a challenge depending on how long a shift is. You don't want people having to go swap out devices and so on. I think cost and loss is probably an element of that, right? The frequency of loss and damage to a headset, the cost of replacing that device certainly could be an issue. The risk of somebody of that device walking away through either an employee or a former employee or a customer who sees one laying around, I think it's less useful. It is if it is not a Bluetooth device that's usable other places. But it is a good question, and we should actually think about reaching out to one of our partners in my space. And my team works very closely on voice experiences, both in corporate environments as well as in stores. And a lot of that is through Teams Voice and other partners that we work with. But we work with a lot of hardware partners in that space. But we should it'd be an interesting conversation to have, because there seems like a natural experience. I'm actually wearing a Bluetooth headset of which I have no affiliation with these guys, but it's it's actually 2-ear bone conduction, so I can hear ambient noise, which is amazing. So if you're working in a store environment, audio quality tends to be very good. You can tell me if it is or not, but my experience is it's very good, and battery life has improved quite a bit. So I can get pretty much a full day of meetings out of it. So that should work with standby time, in a shift. So it'd be something interesting to dig into. I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Anything you run into where that's popped up?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the similar questions to you, right? I mean, it's almost feel like I got to reach out to some of my friends over at Zebra, and you can reach out to your friends. You probably got like Jabber friends or something, but like, yeah, just be curious. Is it that it doesn't last for the entire day? Is it just that maybe they don't feel great in your ear for an 8-hour shift? Is it like more health and safety, comfort thing? I don't know. It's a weird one. It's like we just seem to see radios and Zebras, and then just Zebras or Samsungs or whatever. But yeah, it came up the other day on a couple conversations, and I'm like, yeah, why don't we see more kind of like headset stuff? I can't live my day without my headset, so I don't know how you would otherwise as a frontline worker.
Yeah, and what we are seeing in a lot of the conversations we're having now are as we're having conversations about agentic AI in stores, right? You're going to have this, critical. Ideally have this, thing in your ear, voice in your ear that's telling you about what's going on, right? Customers walked in. Maybe if we're able to identify that customer through some mechanism, right? We know who walked in and what they're interested in, or help's needed, or customers using a device to get information about a product, like we've talked about in a previous episode, and you're able to communicate back with that customer, or it's notifying you. So like the scenarios become really valuable, and having that kind of always on communication becomes really important.
Yeah, absolutely. As a buddy of mine at your shop, it's voice and AI is going to be an app killer. So yeah, I mean, it's just more and more relevant every day about how do we figure out that device strategy. So we'll leave it with that. You know what? I'm going to give you a challenge. You go and chat with someone in your side. I'm going to go talk to, I know exactly who to talk to over at Zebra, and maybe we'll bring one of those folks or do a couple separate calls and see what the device side of the house says and what the accessory side of the house says.
Let's do it. Love it.
Okay, awesome. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Don.